Hey guys, it's Kirk from the Forever Homestead. So it is end of March 2018. Official start of spring was just a couple of days ago. I am back at the homestead standing in front of the start of our timber frame home. We've had a lot of subscribers that have kind of been following us from the beginning, but the last little while we've gotten a lot of new subscribers. And they're, just trying to figure out what we're doing here. My plan is to have the house finished and be in it for by the end of 2018. So that gives us 8 months or so to basically build the entire house. The original plans we got didn't come with a basement, so we added that in last year, and that was all we got done last year. You can see it behind me. We've got the walls poured for the floor, in-floor heat, all that kind of stuff done last year, and we got the first floor on it. But for this year, we've got to get everything else done. I'm sometimes pretty bad at timelines. And only because, if I think something's going to take a week, it usually ends up taking 2 weeks, usually twice as long as I expect. And that's kind of because, by the time I actually put hammer to nail, I've built whatever it is that week's project is. I've built it probably 100 times in my mind already, going through it all, placing the studs, the plates, everything. I've done it all already in my mind, sleepless nights and all that kind of stuff. And quite often it works out for me because, although I'm tired, quite often it works out because it kind of helps you find mistakes and problems before they actually arise. We've had the blueprints for about a year, so I've obsessed over those. I've studied them, researched them, everything. So I think things are going to go pretty well. I've given myself 2 weeks to do the walls, the main floor walls. And this weekend I actually have help. My brother and my son are coming down, so we should get a lot of progress done this week. You can see behind me here, we put a bunch of, when I did the floor, if you look back at some of our videos from last year, I put Typar down, like house wrap down on the floor, hoping that we could dry in our basement so we could, work in there over the winter. But that leaked like a sieve. Then I put the green tarp down, and that leaked. All it's basically done is stopped air from getting at it. And the bottom, inside the house, it's black. I don't know if it's mold or if it is, but anyway, the plan last winter was supposed to be to use the basement as a workshop for timber framing. That's why we put in that wood stove. But there was problems getting our logs. Our logger had some injuries on his crew, so they couldn't get them to us. We still don't have them. Supposed to be here in a couple of weeks, but I've heard that before. Anyway, so I'm going to take all the tarps and everything off today. It's not keeping the basement any drier, and I figure by taking that all off, it's going to be easier to work, and it's also going to allow the air to blow over the plywood and dry things up better than just sitting in water. So I'm going to get on that today. I've got a few projects to do before my crew gets here this weekend, but I'm going to get that taken off. I've got some electrical stuff I need to finish up. We don't quite have power here yet. I mean, it's in both locations. There just needs to be some conduits done. I got to get the panel installed today, and then I've got to do just some final connections at the barn. My father-in-law is going to pop in for that. He's the electrician, so I'll get a lot of it done. But before we flick that breaker and energize the whole system, I'm going to get him to take a peek at my work. But yeah, I'll get going. I'm going to bring you along with me this weekend. You can kind of see the progress. I know the videos have been kind of here and there. It's been a pretty busy winter. I'm hoping over the summer, it's going to be tough with videos. My whole focus is going to be the house. There's not a lot of other projects that I have going on this year. Last year there was all kinds of buildings and projects. This year my focus is the house. Like I say, we hope to be in it, closed in, having our permanent space by the end of 2018. So what I'm going to try to do is not organize my videos based on, you know, first floor, second floor, all that, like I've been doing in the previous years. What I'm going to try to do this week, or this year, is I'm going to try for a video every week. I know that's probably not going to happen, but I'm hoping at least every 2 weeks to be able to throw out a video. And I'm just going to show you what I've done over the last week or two. So some weeks will be crazy progress. Some weeks won't be a lot. It'll be all small, finicky stuff. I hope you guys enjoy it still. I'm just trying to keep you guys in the loop and you know, keep you interested in the project, but still, you know, maintain some kind of a schedule that isn't a killer for me. But anyway, I'm gonna get to work, and I'll check back with you in a little bit. Hey guys, so my brother and son just left. We were out here all day yesterday. Pretty long day. I forgot all the cameras, so I don't have any video footage of it. But we did manage to get one of the walls, one of the long walls, framed in and raised. It's about a little over 45 feet long. We raised it in 2 sections, so we built from the end there down to the center of this doorway. We sheeted it. We put on 2 rows of plywood, and then we raised it. And this section here, I don't know, probably 30 feet or something, it was heavy. The 3 of us could just barely raise it. And then we raised this small piece at the end separately. We started to lay out the other wall, and then it was getting pretty late and mistakes were starting to get made, so we called it the day. But with this one, with this wall, I'm gonna build it in 3 pieces. I'm gonna build this one in 3 sections because we couldn't, like the 3 of us could barely raise that one. So I have no chance of either on my own, or if, you know, Jessica or my father-in-law or something pops in to help me raise it, there's no way I'm gonna get that up without it being smaller sections. So I'm gonna it's Sunday. Not that we really have any lazy days around here anymore, but I'm not going to work too insanely today. But what I am going to work on for sure is my father-in-law was over yesterday, and he started some of the electrical work in the barn to get the power to the house. Because right now we're using extension cords to plug in like the air compressor and stuff like that, and it's just so much power, it keeps blowing the breaker in the shed. Like I gotta plug it in way over in the pump house there. So we've got it almost ready to be connected in here, and then we're gonna actually have a plug right at the house instead of having to use extension cords and all that kind of stuff, because it was really annoying. So I'm gonna work on that today. But yeah, I'll check back in once we when I start building this side of the wall. I'll make sure I set some cameras up and bring you along. Going on in here. So this is for a window. The bottom plates aren't on yet. But basically, we have our king stud, and then we have a jack, and then a slip. You can see that so this plate, this is more for nail or for drywalling and stuff. It's not technically needed by code. And then we have a 2-ply 2x8 that'll get raised up here, and that's our header. So this board here sits on the first slip. The header sits on the jack stud and the first slip. And then the king stud supports the whole wall, so that carries the load all the way down. At the top, the difference here between this one and then that one with the double plate on top is going to be 10 inches. And that's because when the timber frame gets raised, there's actually a 10-foot, or I guess it's about an 8-foot, 10-inch beam that sits in this pocket and extends 3 feet further than the house. And that allows us to put the rafters down onto that. So I still need to cut a piece for here, and then that'll have a double top plate. But I'm going to get this assembled and start moving down the line. Alright, I'm back. This is a Mastercraft nail gun, and it's the biggest pile of junk. If you, when you're down to your last 1 or 2 nails, if you don't put a new strip in and you fire it, it always jams every time, and you gotta pound the cylinder back in, and it's horrible. And if you do manage to get by that, and you only have 1 nail left, and you try to shoot it, it ejects it at your face. Piece of junk. But I hate buying tools that I already have, so. So there's the first window done. Sorry about my giant shadow. So once we add, just might not make sense while it's on the ground here. Once we add a second top plate to that, because that's the code for this building anyway, the space between that plate there and this top plate will be 10 inches. And we have a Douglas fir, a 10-inch Douglas fir, 10 by, I think it's 10 by 8. And it sits on top of this plate and extends out 3 more feet. And then that connects up to our rafters. We have Douglas fir, for the 2 outside rafters are Douglas fir. And then it just gets bolted down through this. Yeah, and then so now I just have to basically do the same thing, just going down 16-inch centers, I'm putting the crown up on the wood, and then I'll have to do, I don't have to do this beam pocket anymore until the end. The very end wall will have the same, the very end will have the same pocket on it, and then it's just a normal, we frame in the doorway, and there's a doorway there, a window there, and another big window way down at the end. And I am going to build this in 3 sections. So I'm going to build it all at once, but I'm not going to put the header in for the doorway here, or the header in for the bathroom or the kitchen window. And that way we can, because there's only probably going to be me and Jessica, possibly my father-in-law, to lift these. And like I said, it took 3 of us could barely lift that one. So I'm going to make these in a little bit smaller sections. But I'll carry on, and I'll show you when I'm done. So the wall's built. I've got the sill plate in there. The header is sitting here, and then I'll have to build the bottom of it still, like the window down there. I'm leaving this out only because the split to help raise it, I'm going to split it at the door here, so I can't have that in. And then the next section here has this is the kitchen window. And in this case, we're just splitting it at a stud here, so I just doubled up the studs there. And then the end has a really large 5-foot by 5-foot window. So that's everything built that I need for now until it's standing, and then I can finish the doorway. Before I raise it, I'm going to put on 2 rows of plywood like I did on that side. Before I can do that though, I have to square the whole wall. So I'm just going to take a measurement from the corner, from the bottom corner to the top here, and then do the same thing from that one, and they should match. It does look like it's a little bit out of square just from looking at the way this is hanging over the edge here, but we'll see what happens.
Don't stand on the other side of the
Or
nail
better
head.
right on the outside.
on-
Well, then I have to
backside
knock
of
it out to put the header in for the door, though.
Oh,
I still have to frame those doors out.
that'll ride.
Yeah. Now I got bracing. Water in the face. Nail the bracing. Alright, so if you go on this side of it, you can walk down that beam.
We're gonna go straight out.
You got
and
your
then-
level handy?
Yeah.
Right there.
So it's not as floppy as it feels like once it's up there because it's sitting pretty flat. So then I'll let go and I'll hit that corner first. That's the easiest one. I don't need any walking for that.
And then I'll move in over with you.
Looks like it might be a little icy. You're okay there, right in the middle here. Might be a little icy, so just watch it move. You ready? Yeah. Oh!
Everybody good?
Yeah. Close. Okay. You guys got it?
Yeah. You want to give me that level? You good, Jess? Yeah, good.
Good?
You holding up your house?
How are we on the line?
Which line?
Woohoo!
Time.
Okay, we gotta go back. We gotta come back in there.
What?
Right here.
Top's gotta go out. Touch, quarter bubble. Eighth bubble. See, I want an eighth bubble. Can I hear him nail it? A little more. Is this slit? No, you're good. Good. Those nails working better.
Yeah, hasn't jammed yet. Okay, so up like here. I think it's just this end. You gotta come in just a hair.
You got a sledge or something?
Yeah. That ice was a little freaky.
Yeah.
I started to slip right there. My bonus was hurting. Just keep down. Plate.
Yeah, it's bouncy.
Is it bouncing? Yeah, okay, so
If you take off their jewels, they all look like fools. Weighing their diamonds and gold on the scales, burning the woods to build a new skyscraper, building and building to climb up to the sun. He thinks that he rules in a kingdom so great. It's a mad orchestra that he is forced to conduct. He thinks that money would buy.
So it's about the 106th day of January, otherwise known as middle of April. We've had some real weather delays on the house. I'm like 2 weeks past my 2-week deadline. The local airport is saying over the last, I don't know, 4 days, we've received something like 109 centimeters of snow and ice pellets, and it's an ice rink up there. On the bright side, the long-term forecast now shows sun and warmer temperatures, so this should all melt pretty quick. So I should be able to get back up there and finish those 2 end walls. We've got to get the what's my words? The waterproofing on the basement part here all the way around. And then hopefully next week our excavator comes in and backfills. But there'll be more about that next time. Until then, have a good one.